We're back again to talk about Agatha Harkness because something actually happened this week.
You should see me in a crown.
Full spoilers because there's not enough in these episodes to not spoil. Like, the good bits are all the spoilery bits, in my opinion.
Are people doing hour-long reviews of this show and like spoiler reviews and non-spoiler reviews?
I don't know, but they're doing... I think most of the reviews are like theory crafting. Like, people have a lot of opinions about what is and isn't happening in the show.
I mean, they feel like 20-minute episodes. Like,
I mean, they are. I think this week's was the shortest. It came in about 25 minutes, and the last 10 minutes is kind of the interesting stuff.
It's tricky. And the reason we didn't do one last week is because it just felt like not enough happened last week. Like, it was just like a big nothing. It wasn't even enough to do a video saying nothing happened. That's how nothing it was.
Well, we just don't do really short videos. I guess we could have done like a short on it, but episode 4 really was a little bit of arguing on the road. Then they walk into a room, there's some band equipment, a little bit more arguing, and then they play a song. And then they defeat the trial.
They break a generational curse.
Yeah, so it's very expositional in that episode. Like, I actually quite like the idea of making a song to be a protection charm so that everyone else is singing it. But I don't think the song was singable enough. Like, it's not a Taylor Swift level bop where like everyone's going to be singing it.
But if you think about it, it's like everyone who's a witch, it's their favorite song.
Maybe she got it trending on Reels. So like, it's a TikTok song. So it was very expositional. I liked the fact that about the curse thing, but the only way they can get that message across is by one character saying, wow, this song is actually a protection charm that your mum made so that everyone would sing it. And I'm like, oh, that's neat. Like, next thing. Aubrey Plaza was the best part of that episode. She's being Aubrey Plaza.
Look, I enjoy Aubrey Plaza. I don't enjoy that now she just fills this niche and people like drool over her.
She's too typecast.
She's doing nothing and people are like, yes! Like, I love when she doesn't contribute and sits there and be rude. It's like, I understand. I want her to step on my balls too, everybody. But it's like, she didn't contribute to this. She just like, they're like, let's just set her loose in the scene and she can just ad-lib, you know?
I honestly wouldn't be shocked if that was most of this show. It's about $4 million per episode, which is still too much considering what we're getting, but it's so much less than everything else.
They're finally going to get a good return on investment because they didn't spend $100 million per episode for once.
Well, Acolyte came out at $200 million and this came out at 40 for 9 episodes.
Yeah.
So granted, they're still short. Granted, they're 5 women walk into a living room and do an escape room and then
like over
leave.
Lifetime, this is probably just going to at least break even.
Yes. Apparently it's doing well.
People are loving it, apparently.
I think it's half. They get to ship Agatha and Rio. They get to theorycraft about who Teen is. And the general witchy vibe is a lot of people's thing.
Modern day like Wicca and like witches, it's very popular. Like I see it a lot.
Well, what have we had since Charmed? Like the Charmed reboot? That's about all they've had.
I'm trying to think. Was there something?
That's what I mean. It's like we went from like Buffy and like it used to be the thing.
Yeah. I feel like there's been like a lapse in like those kind of supernatural TV shows. Like,
well, Supernatural ran for 15 years.
You had like your Supernatural, but then you had like your Vampire Diaries, your True Bloods.
Yeah.
You know, your Teen Wolves.
Teen Wolves.
Your Buffy back in the day and stuff.
They all have so much lore.
I feel like we haven't had like that kind of vibe.
Honestly, they should probably do that. Marvel should try to release like a 20 episode season that, sure, it feels budget, but we get to latch onto those characters.
Yeah. Why can't they just make like a Monster of the Week type show with like one of these characters or something?
I think that would actually do way better than they would ever expect. They're just like, oh, this is what streaming is now. It's like, no, the biggest shows on streaming are those binge watchers that you can like fall in love. Because the good thing about them is like, even if you think a show's not great, like I've watched 7 seasons of The Flash, 9 seasons of The Flash.
Oh God. There's nowhere to run.
And there's nowhere for me to run. I'm just like watching and crying. But by the end of 20 episodes, you know, you're like, you know what? I do like these characters. Like, you get very Stockholmy.
Yeah.
So, like, even if I didn't like Agatha, after watching 20 episodes,
we are the Flash, Barry.
Like, after 20 episodes, you can latch on. So, yeah, episode 4 kind of comes and goes.
I think the big thing with that one, Rio and Agatha's kind of
alone time.
Their alone time and like their plotting kind of is delved into a little bit of, are we going to kill everyone? And it's kind of alluded that they killed everyone last time.
Yeah, it sounds like they were on the road.
The whole coven to the end, and then they killed everybody, and then they got the wishes.
Yeah, but then they go through the heartwarming thing, and then they're all kind of like friends again by the end of it.
Well, you play music together.
It's a weird, like, obviously they shouldn't trust the giant evil serial killing witch Agatha Harkness, but they all need her, but they don't really, like, surely they could have got to the road themselves eventually. Like,
she's just there to like spout exposition about something
and again be snarky. Like, she's just a mean lady. But we get a lot more in episode 5, which I think has a lot more to it despite being shorter. It still takes us like 10 minutes to get to the actual trial, but they're in another living room. This time we're doing 80s horror, so like Evil Dead.
80s girls sleepover, like use a Ouija board.
There's a lot I don't like about this episode as well. Like, it's a little bit nonsensical because like they get the Ouija board, like there's these rules, and they immediately break every single rule, but they don't get every single consequence that was said, and they don't fail the trial. And I don't know how they succeed in the trial, because basically Agatha pretends to be possessed for a bit there.
Yeah.
And the bit just goes on for too long, but I'm sure some people found it funny.
They're like, oh my God, look, she's ad-libbing that. She's good. You have to theory craft because it doesn't give you all the answers. The answers it does give you, it spoon feeds you. And people are going to be like, well, it's just because you're dumb. But it's like, no, it just doesn't explain things. Like they say, like not to break these rules, otherwise you'll get invaded or like by a spirit. We see the old lady break a rule, but nothing happens to her. Like she takes her hands off the planchette. You know, none of them say goodbye at the end. They don't talk about death. She talks about death.
They all have to use it together, but then teen Billy uses it by himself, like over in the corner, to somehow fix or finish the trial by yelling Nicholas Scratch.
Well, that's what the whole thing. It's like, I had to theory craft this idea of, because they're like, Agatha, this is your trial. Because
it was a blood moon, they decided.
The trial itself, in my head canon, is she had to commune with her son. That was the whole thing. It's like confronting a big fear. Her fear is obviously she sacrificed her son. It's what she's going through this whole season. And so the trial wouldn't be over until she spoke to her son. And in the end, the teen yells, Nicholas Scratch, which finally like forces a connection between herself and the spirit, whatever.
And then we hear the voiceover of, Mom, please stop.
And then the trial ends, which the time runs out before that, but that's okay.
I think maybe he says goodbye with like a second left, but yeah.
But that's my theory. That's how they would have won the trial, is if they just stuck to it and then had an emotional moment and been like, Nicholas Scratch, that's my son. Mom, I love you, whatever. And then it just would have opened. But that's if everything went well.
Which isn't her confronting anything. Instead, it's kind of like her becoming a bigger bad guy. Because they break some of the rules, all of them, her mum gets released. She gets possessed by her mum, which feels like it's just so they can reference 80s horror.
I don't like the makeup on possessed Agatha, and I don't like the effect on the ghost.
I think it's all CGI.
I don't like the effect on the ghost.
Do ghosts ever look good, though? They always look like Axel floating head from like Love and Thunder.
I don't like it.
It's a cheap show. I wonder what episode of Buffy cost.
It's $40 million.
Yeah, that's right. If this is $4 million, I wonder what like an episode of like Buffy or Supernatural used to cost. Probably not $1 million.
Season 1 had a budget of $20,000.
Per episode?
No. Season 1 had a budget of $20,000.
Season 1 of Supernatural was $20,000.
Quick, put your hands on the Ouija board. SUBSCRIBE. Subscribe!
When the mum does possess, we do actually get a poignant moment, which again makes everyone go from like hating on Agatha to liking her or feeling sorry for her, I guess, because the mum's like, I should have aborted you, basically. Yeah. The interesting wording of as soon as you left my body, like she specified not abortion. Yeah. She specified killing a baby. I don't know whether that's
like such a witch thing, you know?
Maybe.
Like sacrificing your firstborn.
To me, there's just so much like pro-life, pro-choice stuff going on. It felt purposeful that they're like, shit, we don't want to add to like that argument. So we'll say, once the baby's out, I should have killed you. I should have sparted you off a cliff or something. But it cuts to everyone just being like, oh shit, your mum sucked, dude. And like, not to mention her mum put her to the stake and tried to kill her. So everyone does feel bad for her. Jennifer Hale wants to leave. She's like, there's no flood. Let's just go. Agatha is the only danger here. They get told by the ghost to punish Agatha. Yeah. They get told to punish Agatha, so they're going to leave her behind. And then she's like, through tears, she's like, guys, please take me with you.
The mum says, you guys can go if you leave Agatha here with me forever.
Yeah, and they're going to. Teen doesn't want to. Patty Lapone doesn't actually do anything in this whole episode, really.
But neither does Rio.
Rio's not in most of this.
She's supposed to be a powerful witch, because Agatha was like, wait till I get my powers back and we can have like an even fight.
Yeah, I think that's part of like the theory crafting, like she vanishes off screen because she's possibly deaf.
Maybe she's not allowed to like intervene.
Yeah, it's again, it's either on purpose to make people theory craft, on purpose because they're doing something interesting with her, or there's too many characters on screen and they had nothing for her to do.
She brandishes a hairbrush knife.
Yeah, that's what she does this episode. She flings a knife around and is like, oh, shank ya. She's being Aubrey Plaza. But then Ali decides that she doesn't want her to die, so her and her six-pack come and try to fuck this woman up. She looks great. Love it.
Blast her with the orange magic.
Yes, I fucking hate when magic is just like light beams.
I don't like when it looks low effort. Like, I can see the actor already on set just going...
Yeah.
And then she looks at her hands and it's still shooting the same beams, like breaking the concentration. Like, I know that like the beam clash is happening, so it's obviously being channeled, but it's like going... Oh, should stop it from working. Like, I grew up on Dragon Ball Z. You know, you need to be like...
It's like, it's the Avatar thing. It's like you need to be doing something.
I hate that it breaks my suspension of disbelief. It's like, I know, it's magic, whatever. But I hate that it takes me out of it so much when she's like, huh?
Well, there was only like one episode of Wandavision where magic was even used. So Jack Schaefer, she's not a VFX heavy person. Like, she's never done this kind of thing, and you can kind of feel in the direction.
At least there wasn't a sky beam yet. Yeah.
Well, Agatha's mum shoots out of her, and then she does the I must suck all your powers that we've seen her do twice. I think she sucks it out of her mum and the evil coven that tries to kill her.
She tries to do it to Wanda as well.
Yes, that's some of the exposition we get earlier in the episode. We find out who the Salem Seven are.
Yes.
The Salem Seven are the children of the witches she killed in Wandavision's prequel. Apparently, after she killed all those witches, they already had kids.
She said, I took like a mercy on them. Yeah. I decided not to kill them.
They grew up to, which again was a funny moment for like the split second, but it's exposition, and then she makes a joke.
She's like, that'll teach me. You know, always
double tap, rule one. Yeah, so that's who the bad guys are. They're just like mean witches. And we had the thought, those Salem Seven have gone to, they're on the road. Do they also have to go to living rooms and do trials?
They should be going through trials.
Do they have witty banter?
Yeah.
They get like the creepy walking.
It's like, I have mummy issues too. We all have mummy issues. They're all killed.
They're trying to do horror. I don't think they're being spooky enough.
Yeah.
I feel like the cold opens in Supernatural were usually very like the creepiest part of the episode.
Yeah.
Or like they'd be stuck in a room with a ghost. Whereas with this, because they're undercutting everything with comedy, because it's Marvel, even when Agatha's like an evil person stuck to the ceiling, you're not like, ooh, or like there's no tension. But we finally get character tension, which I think what it's been missing. I was saying before, they're all like snarky and bitchy to each other, but then they're friends, they're snarky and bitchy, then they're laughing.
They constantly go between like, we hate Agatha.
Yeah.
We should just leave her here. The potion witch is like, yeah, we should punish Agatha. Like, she just very quickly
She's very much
switches
on the
it.
Fuck Agatha bandwagon.
And then like, you know, it switches back.
Because they need her, they probably shouldn't be doing that, but they finally get some actual character tension because she's directly responsible for killing Ali.
Yeah, which no one helped with. It's like, yes, I understand they're two witches beam clashing, but you're in a room this size and one of you can just pull one of them off.
Grab her, pull her,
hit her on the back of the head.
Punch Agatha square in the face. But she kills her. She sucks all her life out. She looks like she's enjoying it. But then afterwards she says, oh, I lost control.
I didn't know what was happening.
It's just my thing. I suck power.
So it's like, was she? Or wasn't she?
I think she did lose control because afterwards, I think you said you thought she did it on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just like a theory. It's like, because her ultimate goal is to get her powers back. And she wanted to absorb them in episode 2.
Yes.
So I'm like, you know, she's always going to be the same old Agatha.
But I'm leaning on the whole no bad guy is truly a bad guy.
Of course.
So, because it's modern writing, baby. Sauron's a good guy. He cries. Basically, I think she did lose control. So, like, she didn't mean to suck all the powers.
Did she lose control or was it a lapse in judgment?
No, I think she lost control, accidentally sucked all the powers, or like got lost in the moment at the very least, and then was remorseful. But then everyone was like, no, fuck you. Like, we hate you. And then I think she was like, you know what? They think I'm the bad guy. I'm going to be the bad guy. And that's the moment where she whispers in Billy's ear once she figures out that Billy is Billy because Billy is Wanda's son, which we always knew.
Teen is Billy?
Yeah. I don't think it was ever like up for discussion. I don't think anyone was ever like, wow, he's Nick Scratch. Not only in this episode do we meet Nick Scratch, that obviously isn't him. Rio says he's not your son. And it was always too forced. But in episode 3, it was so forced where like, Agatha wouldn't even know it's her son if she looked him right in the eyes.
It could be you and we wouldn't even know.
And then she looks at the camera. Even from his casting, I think everyone was like, oh, Wiccan is like the most openly gay young witch person in the Marvel universe. They cast a young gay actor from like a very LGBT friendly show that everyone loves. And we always knew it was going to be Wiccan. Like, there was never any like, oh. And now we know that he is, even though I guess they never explicitly say it. Like, she never says, you're just like your mum, Wanda. She just says, you're just like your mum. But it does open up kind of more questions than it does answers, because we already knew that. Does Billy know that his mum is Wanda? Probably, because he reacts to that. Either that, or maybe he thought she could be. We don't know why he's doing what he's doing. But trusting the woman that tried to kill your mum, and throughout the show, he's been like trying to protect her. Like, he didn't want to leave her behind. He's more than using her to get to the road. Like, he was trying to save her.
Is this Gohan being left with Piccolo to train, like, esque? Like,
but he sought her out.
Even though she's evil, she's the second strongest witch in the universe. So it's like, my mum doesn't exist anymore. So I need to be training with the best of the best, even though they're evil. Yeah. I'm going to get my answers this way, and maybe I can get revenge. Maybe I can get my mum back.
I think we can safely say that he wants to revive his mum at the end of the road. Like, that's his goal.
They need Elizabeth Olsen back. I need to know where he's from, like,
whether he's
universally, because in our universe, Wanda didn't have kids.
Yes, and they got dusted when she left the hex.
Yes, they only existed in the hex. That was the whole point of Doctor Strange mum. She was going universe hopping to find her kids.
Yes.
So
even though she could have just gotten a kid,
one of the last things she did was bring her kids into universe, or is it the Wanda from that other universe? I don't think we'll get answers to that, to be honest. I think he's just going to say one day he came into being.
We only know there's one more TV trope we're doing, which is Wizard of Oz. I don't think there's any others from the trope. Oh, wait, no, that was the Wicked Witch one.
We've got 4 more episodes.
Yes. So
we're going to have like 1 or 2 episodes outside of the road, maybe.
Yeah, so one of those is going to be the Wizard of Oz, and another one is probably going to be the Snow White looking one from the trailer. We at least will probably have 2 episodes. I don't think there's anything else in the trailers that give anything away from like the end of the show. But we can assume that at least another witch is going to die. Like, we're probably going to kill them.
I hate to agree with your idea before that Agatha is just going to be like a misunderstood baddie. My guess is going to be all the witches die and she uses her wish at the end instead of getting all her powers back to wish her coven back.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
And then they live happily ever after.
This is going to be Edward saving Bella at the end of Twilight. You know, how do I stop drinking? You have to stop yourself.
Yeah, it's going to be a happy ending. But Billy's anger at Ali dying either brings out Wiccan and gives him his powers back, or he always had his powers.
You should see him in a crown.
He chose not to use them. Everyone finally actually hated Agatha because she killed Ali, whereas like
especially Wiccan. Wiccan really is like, get away from her!
Whereas with Mrs. Hart, it was kind of like everyone forgot about her, and they all kind of felt a little bit
everyone
responsible.
Kind of expected her to die because she was a human on the road as well.
Yeah, and they were like the poison witch. They kind of blamed her because they're like, you forgot to give her 2 doses because she drank 2 wines. So it was kind of a team blame, whereas this was always definitely like, Agatha, you killed our new friend because we were campfiring earlier. So it was finally actual character tension that everyone was like, grr, we hate you. And that was good. And I liked that. Like, I kind of enjoyed the last 7 minutes, especially because like Billy had some fire. He wasn't just like, gee willikers, Mrs. Agatha, what are we doing today? And
he didn't just like hurt Agatha. He threw all the witches into quick mud.
It seems like he didn't know what a witch was or thought witches could be good, which again is a little confusing considering Agatha is a serial killer. So maybe he didn't know everything of Agatha's past.
Well, he says he's a bit of a fanboy.
Yeah, so you'd think he would know.
Yeah.
And he's also lived his whole life. Like, he has a boyfriend. He has a life outside of this. Yeah, I just don't quite... I still don't love the show. I'm still watching it. Like,
people say this show's cooking. Look, I didn't enjoy this episode. I think the very short episodes don't work with how much character development and story you want to get in there.
Yeah, it makes it very exposition-y. They literally have to say.
It's like herky-jerky as well with like how much and how quickly these characters, like opinions and like voices on each other change. And I really don't like it, like how quick it is. I don't like how much story they're trying to force or how deep they're trying to make something that only lasts 25 on-screen minutes.
Yeah, it seems like they didn't really have much to do in each episode.
I enjoy when people do their magic stuff. Like, I enjoy when they're like, oh, this is how brooms work. You have to make it and then you gift it to another witch. You say a little spell and then it works. It's like, that's pretty cool. I enjoy, I'm grasping here, I enjoy Teen developing his powers because they say like there's like 2 sides to magic. There's like the incantation side of things and there's the actual like
you
physical
can work
magic
hard
of it.
Or you can be born with it kind of deal.
I feel like they have to age him up. It's like, look, this isn't an anime moment where it's like, you have a kid protagonist killing everybody.
Do you mean age or power up?
No, age.
Okay, but they're not going to age him up because he needs to be a young Avenger.
I know.
But he's Wanda's son.
I know, but it doesn't look good. But it's like, no magic powers. I don't know. Just my opinion.
If next week gives us enough, we'll come back. If it doesn't, then we'll do it in a fortnight.
Fortnite Battle Pass. Tell us if you think these episodes are getting better and building up to something.
Thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Bye.